Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching.
The biggest little YouTube.
Just lip sync it.
Right,
the biggest YouTube channel on the entire
biggest little
internet.
YouTube.
Yeah,
You
you
messing
already
up
messed
already.
it up. You ready?
I am your host, Q the Rider, and in today's episode, I'm going to talk about my 2023 Road King upgrades that I've done so far. Before I get started, I want to recognize the sponsors for Riding and Wrenching. We have Wings Customs, the maker of custom handlebars and other accessories for your Harley Davidson motorcycle, and Volunteer Audio, who installs some of the best sound systems that you're going to get for your Harley Davidson motorcycle. Let's get into it. So I've done a couple of videos on my Road King already, and I've talked about why I bought the bike and what I'm planning to do to it. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've done to the bike and some of the things that I've removed. So we'll start at the back of the bike. First thing that I removed, the lollipop lights. Lollipop lights are pretty simple to remove. There's just a couple of bolts that hold them on and a couple of plugs that are connected in the rear brake light housing. So you just remove that rear brake light cover. You see these two, you pull them out, unscrew it, lollipop light comes right off. Well, that took away my blinkers, so I installed a set of Zero 3D filler panel lights that I had in my garage. Saved me a little bit of money and reused some parts that were just sitting and collecting dust. I think it looks good and it's a nice addition to the bike and gives me a little bit more lighting on the rear of the bike. I'm planning to add some, the saddlebag lights as well, to add more lights to the rear of the bike. I don't have a set of those laying around, so I'll have to pick some up. But those will be added sometime soon. Something else from the rear of the bike that I removed, the permanent Tourpack mount. I'm not planning to have a permanent Tourpack on this bike, so I don't need this. But the one thing that I lose is my license plate bracket. So I've got to figure that out. I'm hoping that I can find one that covers up the mounting screws for this thing, because that's the only issue I have with having removed the lollipop light. My options are to replace the fender or find a license plate bracket that covers up the holes. If I can do that, then I'll keep the stock fender on there. Otherwise, I'm gonna be in the market for a new fender and a license plate bracket. I also installed a set of Cobra Neighbor Hater mufflers, and I think they look pretty good. They sound phenomenal. And as you can see, the permanent Tourpack is gone, so I have a nice, clean, exposed rear fender. So I'll move over a little bit. Next thing I did is I installed a backrest. This is a Utopia. It's from a company called Utopia Products, I guess, or Utopia Seats, but they make backrests for police bikes, and that's what this is. It's physically attached to the seat. It mounts to the bottom. It bolts into the frame of the seat. It was pretty easy to install. In fact, this seat was also an old part that I had sitting in the garage from a prior bike, and I just installed the whole seat on this bike, and I took the stock seat off. In fact, the stock seat's for sale, so if someone is looking for a police seat without a backrest, reach out to me. I'll give you a good price on this seat. But this backrest is pretty amazing. It adds some comfort when I'm riding, and also it gives me the option of laying it down like this, which moves me forward on the tank. Now, a lot of people think that's crazy, but if you do slow speed riding and rodeos, you understand the value of that feature. All right, the next thing that I removed, the heel shifter. I hate heel shifters. I believe it's a product that's made by Satan, and it's designed, it only has one purpose in life, to damage your shift linkage. Every time I've seen someone broken down on the side of the road with a damaged shift linkage, they have a heel shifter attached. Why? Because when you have a heel shifter, you are inclined to stomp on them when you're really getting into it, and that damages your shift linkage. You don't need that much pressure to shift gears on your bike. Whatever pressure it takes with your toes to lift that shift lever up and down, that's all the pressure that you need. And the other thing it does, it gives me the whole floorboard for my foot. I can move my feet around while I'm riding. It's just a lot more comfortable. If you're looking for a heel shifter, I will give this to you for free if you pay for shipping. Just shoot me an email. Next thing I'll talk about are the wheels that I'm going to be putting on the bike. As you can see, I still have the stock wheels on here, but I picked up a set of takeoff wheels at a dealership And here they are, or here's one of them. Ugh. Quite possibly the ugliest wheel I've ever seen in my life. Someone took the wheels off of a Street Glide Special. Actually, the dealership did this, but they had this rim powder coated. It's like a flake purple and this pinkish red color with flakes in it. This is the ugliest wheel I've ever seen in my life, but I'm putting it on my Road King. But before I do, I'm going to have it powder coated black because this thing is just freaking ugly. It's unbelievably ugly. I have a matching rear wheel, which is it's actually on my Road Glide right now. I bought it because I just got a great price on it. I paid less for this than a set of tires would have cost. So I was like, it was a deal I couldn't pass up. But I am going to get these powder coated and I'm going to put them on this bike. Now, what I've learned about these 19-inch wheels, and I was apprised of this by another YouTube content creator, Jerry Palladino, so shout out to him. But I thought by putting this 19-inch wheel on versus the 17-inch wheel, it would increase the ride height. It won't. The diameter of this tire is the exact size as the diameter of a 17-inch tire. They're exactly the same. It's just that this tire has a shorter sidewall. Theoretically, it's more attractive, but this pink and purple paint job on here leaves a lot to be desired. But we're going to make them black again or something different. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll get creative with it. I don't know. But anyway, these rims are going on this bike. All right, now, you probably noticed by looking at the bike that there are no handlebars on here. These are the stock handlebars. I took them off with the expectation that I was going to replace them with a set of handlebars from a Road Glide that I have up on the shelf. They're a nice looking set of chrome handlebars. They're 12-inch bars. Be a great height for me. They're a little bit wider, which would also be more comfortable for me, and they don't have this odd angle, which I'm not crazy about. Unfortunately, the handlebars from a Road Glide, the base where the handlebar clamp goes, this is 1 inch in diameter. The Road Glide bars are 1 1/4 inch. They don't fit. The only way I can make those bars fit on this bike is to replace the clamp with a clamp from a Road Glide, but I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. I mean, the parts are only about $100. I think I'm going to try to do it just to see if it works. Then I'll know. My other option is just to buy a set of bars that are made for a Road King, which will cost me more money. The clamp is actually cheaper. So I'm going to try the clamp just so I can learn something new. I'll share the results of that in a future video. Actually, we'll probably make an install video out of it, or it'll be the funniest failure install video ever. I don't know. But that's the next thing that's coming once I get these bars taken care of. Well, that's what I'm going to have to do to take care of the handlebars and get my bike back on the road. Now, something else I did to the front of the bike is I replaced the lights. The headlight, I had a set of lights in the garage from Eagle Lights, and it's a LED light, much brighter than the stock halogen light. Much, much brighter, makes it a lot more pleasant riding this bike at night. So these are the accessory lights that are stock on this bike. Also not very attractive, but you can see the lights that I installed from Eagle Lights. So these will go in the new light housings that I'm going to be putting on this bike, but it's not going to have this ugly bar in the front. It's just going to be a much more attractive light unit. And it'll also have a little bit smaller turn signal, similar to what you see. No, it's going to be exactly the same that you would see on an Ultra Limited. Also on the front of the bike, I removed this little trim piece from the bottom of the fender. Actually, it got removed for me by a cone that I ran over at the Lock and Lean Rodeo down in Pensacola. It tore half of it off. It actually damaged the fender. Because of this thing, a cone got trapped in between this trim piece and the tire, and it ended up damaging the fender. I should have just taken it off prior to the rodeo, but I didn't, so now I got a damaged fender. So I'll probably end up replacing the front fender and get a smaller fender, because I still plan to use this bike in motorcycle rodeos. So far, this has been an amazing bike. I was able to take it down to the police rodeo down in Pensacola, Florida, where I competed along with my buddy Jogo, who once again beat the brakes off of me in a slow race. I'm going to have to reassess my slow ride practice so I can come back and be more competitive, because he has blown past me, or actually I've blown past him on the slow ride. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out.